our majestic shores, a journey along America's coastal wonders. Chapter 10. Coastal Futures: Sustainable Coastal Development, Balancing Progress and Preservation. Balancing progress and preservation is a delicate dance along America's coastlines. As human populations grow and industries expand, the pressure on coastal ecosystems intensifies. Sustainable coastal development seeks to harmonize economic growth with the protection of natural resources and the preservation of coastal communities' unique character. One key aspect of sustainable coastal development is the implementation of land use planning policies that prioritize the protection of sensitive habitats, such as wetlands and coastal forests. These policies can help to mitigate the impacts of development on wildlife, water quality, and the overall resilience of coastal ecosystems. Additionally, zoning regulations can be used to ensure that new development is compatible with the existing character of coastal communities and does not disrupt traditional livelihoods or cultural practices. Another important aspect of sustainable coastal development is the adoption of green infrastructure solutions. Green infrastructure refers to the use of natural or nature-based systems to manage stormwater runoff, reduce erosion, and improve water quality. Examples of green infrastructure include rain gardens, bioswales, and constructed wetlands. These systems can help to mitigate the impacts of climate change, such as sea level rise and increased storm intensity, and can also provide habitat for wildlife and recreational opportunities for residents. Sustainable coastal development also involves investing in renewable energy sources and energy efficiency measures. Coastal communities can reduce their reliance on fossil fuels and their contribution to greenhouse gas emissions by utilizing solar, wind, and tidal power. Additionally, by implementing energy efficiency measures in buildings and transportation systems, coastal communities can reduce their overall energy consumption and associated environmental impacts. Furthermore, sustainable coastal development requires the engagement of local communities in the planning and decision-making processes. By involving residents, businesses, and environmental organizations in the development of coastal management plans, communities can ensure that their unique needs and values are reflected in the final decisions. Participatory planning processes can also help to build consensus and support for sustainable development initiatives. Balancing progress and preservation along America's coastlines is an ongoing challenge. However, by implementing sustainable development practices, coastal communities can protect their natural resources, preserve their cultural heritage, and ensure the long-term viability of their communities. By working together, communities can create vibrant and resilient coastal regions that are both economically prosperous and environmentally sustainable. Chapter 10. Coastal Futures: Coastal Resilience, Preparing for the Challenges of the Future. As the impacts of climate change become increasingly apparent, coastal communities around the world are facing unprecedented challenges. Rising sea levels, more frequent and severe storms, and changing weather patterns threaten to inundate coastal areas, displace millions of people, and devastate coastal ecosystems. In the face of these daunting threats, coastal resilience has emerged as a critical concept. Coastal resilience refers to the ability of coastal communities to withstand, adapt to, and recover from coastal hazards and chronic stresses. It encompasses a wide range of strategies and measures, from building seawalls and levees to restoring wetlands and mangroves, from implementing early warning systems to developing evacuation plans. One key aspect of coastal resilience is reducing the vulnerability of coastal communities to hazards. This can be achieved through land use planning, building codes, and zoning regulations that restrict development in high-risk areas. It also involves investing in infrastructure that can withstand the impacts of storms and flooding, such as elevated roads and bridges and storm-resistant buildings. Another important aspect of coastal resilience is enhancing the adaptive capacity of coastal communities. This includes providing financial and technical assistance to help communities adapt to changing conditions, such as by relocating infrastructure and housing away from vulnerable areas, or by developing new livelihood opportunities for people who rely on coastal resources. Coastal communities can also improve their resilience by restoring and protecting natural ecosystems. Wetlands, mangroves, and coral reefs all play a vital role in buffering coastal communities from storms and floods. By restoring these ecosystems, communities can reduce their vulnerability to coastal hazards and improve their overall resilience. Finally, coastal resilience requires effective communication and coordination among all stakeholders, including government agencies, businesses, community organizations, and individual residents. By working together, coastal communities can develop and implement comprehensive resilience plans that address the unique challenges they face. Coastal resilience is an ongoing process that requires a long-term commitment from all levels of government, the private sector, and civil society. By investing in coastal resilience, we can help coastal communities adapt to the challenges of the future and ensure that they remain vibrant and thriving places to live, work, and play. Chapter 10: Coastal Futures, Coastal Adaptation. Embracing Change, Mitigating Impacts. As the world grapples with the impacts of climate change, coastal communities around the United States are facing unprecedented challenges. Rising sea levels, increasingly powerful storms, and changing weather patterns are threatening homes, businesses, and infrastructure. In order to protect these vulnerable areas, coastal adaptation strategies are essential. Coastal adaptation involves a range of measures designed to reduce the risks and impacts of climate change on coastal communities. These strategies can be divided into two main categories. Structural measures. These involve physical infrastructure projects such as seawalls, levees, and storm surge barriers that are designed to protect coastal areas from flooding and erosion. Non-structural measures. These include policies and regulations that aim to reduce the vulnerability of coastal communities to climate change, such as zoning restrictions, building codes, and managed retreat. Structural measures have been widely used to protect coastal communities from flooding and erosion. However, these measures can be expensive to build and maintain, and they may have negative environmental impacts. Non-structural measures, on the other hand, can be more cost-effective and environmentally friendly, but they may not provide the same level of protection as structural measures. The most effective coastal adaptation strategies often involve a combination of structural and non-structural measures. For example, a community might build a seawall to protect against flooding, while also implementing zoning restrictions to limit development in high-risk areas. In addition to structural and non-structural measures, coastal communities can also adapt to climate change by investing in natural infrastructure. Natural infrastructure includes wetlands, mangroves, and coral reefs, which can help to buffer coastal communities from storms and flooding. By protecting and restoring these natural systems, communities can reduce their vulnerability to climate change. Coastal adaptation is an ongoing process that requires careful planning and implementation. There is no one-size-fits-all solution, and the best approach will vary depending on the specific needs and vulnerabilities of each community. However, by embracing change and implementing effective adaptation strategies, coastal communities can mitigate the impacts of climate change and protect their homes, businesses, and infrastructure for future generations. Coastal adaptation is not just about protecting coastal communities from the physical impacts of climate change. It is also about protecting the livelihoods, cultures, and heritage of these communities. By working together, coastal communities can adapt to climate change and ensure a sustainable future for generations to come. Chapter 10: Coastal Futures, Coastal Advocacy. Raising awareness, inspiring action. Coastal communities face a multitude of challenges, from rising sea levels and coastal erosion to pollution and habitat loss. Coastal advocacy is essential to raising awareness of these issues and inspiring action to address them. One of the most important roles of coastal advocates is to educate the public about the importance of coastal ecosystems and the threats they face. This can be done through a variety of channels, such as social media, public speaking, and educational programs. By raising awareness of the issues, coastal advocates can help to build public support for policies that protect coastal ecosystems. Coastal advocates also play a vital role in holding governments and businesses accountable for their actions. They monitor government policies and corporate practices to ensure that they are not harming coastal ecosystems. When they identify harmful practices, they speak out and demand change. Coastal advocates also work to ensure that the voices of coastal communities are heard by decision-makers. In addition to raising awareness and holding governments and businesses accountable, coastal advocates also work to inspire action. They organize cleanup events, restoration projects, and other activities that help to protect coastal ecosystems. They also work to promote sustainable coastal development and tourism practices. Coastal advocacy is a challenging but rewarding endeavor. It requires passion, dedication, and a willingness to work tirelessly for a cause that is vitally important. However, the work of coastal advocates is essential to protecting our coastal ecosystems and ensuring that they continue to provide us with the many benefits that we rely on. Coastal advocacy is not just about protecting the environment. It is also about protecting the livelihoods and cultures of coastal communities. For many people, the coast is more than just a place to live. It is a way of life. Coastal advocates work to ensure that coastal communities can continue to thrive for generations to come. The work of coastal advocates is more important than ever before. As the impacts of climate change become more severe, coastal communities are facing unprecedented challenges. Coastal advocates are working hard to ensure that these communities have the resources and support they need to adapt to these changes and continue to thrive. Chapter 10: Coastal Futures, Coastal Legacy. Ensuring the beauty and bounty of our coasts for generations to come. Our coastal heritage is a tapestry of natural wonders, cultural traditions, and historical landmarks. It is a legacy that we have inherited from generations past, and one that we have a responsibility to preserve and protect for generations to come. As we look to the future, we face a number of challenges that threaten the beauty and bounty of our coasts. Climate change, sea level rise, and pollution are among the most pressing issues that we must address. These challenges require us to rethink our relationship with the coast and to adopt sustainable practices that will protect our coastal ecosystems and communities. One of the most important things we can do is to invest in coastal restoration and conservation efforts. This includes restoring wetlands, mangroves, and coral reefs, which are all vital ecosystems that provide a buffer against storms and erosion. We also need to protect and expand marine protected areas which provide a safe haven for marine life and help to maintain healthy fisheries. Another important step is to reduce our carbon emissions and transition to renewable energy sources. This will help to mitigate the effects of climate change and slow the rate of sea level rise. We also need to invest in coastal adaptation measures such as building seawalls and levees to protect coastal communities from the impacts of storms and flooding. In addition to these physical measures, we also need to invest in education and outreach programs that teach people about the importance of coastal conservation. We need to raise awareness of the threats that our coasts face and encourage people to take action to protect them. By working together, we can ensure that our coastal legacy remains a source of beauty, bounty, and inspiration for generations to come. The dance of light and shadows. The coast is a place of constant change, where the forces of nature are always at play. The tides ebb and flow, the waves crash against the shore, and the wind whips through the dunes. This dynamic environment creates a unique and ever-changing landscape that is both beautiful and awe-inspiring. The interplay of light and shadow is one of the most striking features of the coastal landscape. The sun's rays dance across the water, creating shimmering reflections and casting long shadows on the sand. The clouds passing overhead create ever-changing patterns of light and dark, transforming the coastline into a canvas of ever-changing beauty. A tapestry of life. The coast is home to a rich and diverse array of plant and animal life. The salt marshes and mangrove forests are teeming with life, providing a habitat for a variety of birds, fish, and other wildlife. The coral reefs are home to a kaleidoscope of colorful marine life, while the sandy beaches are a haven for sea turtles and shorebirds. The coast is a place where life and death are intertwined. The waves crash against the shore, eroding the coastline and creating new habitats. The storms that batter the coast can be destructive, but they also bring new life and energy to the ecosystem. A place of beauty and wonder. The coast is a place of beauty and wonder that has inspired artists, writers, and musicians for centuries. The crashing waves, the sandy beaches, and the towering cliffs are a reminder of the power and majesty of nature. The coast is also a place of peace and tranquility. The sound of the waves can be calming and restorative, and the beauty of the landscape can help to clear the mind and refresh the spirit. A legacy to protect. Our coastal heritage is a legacy that we have inherited from generations past. It is a legacy that we have a responsibility to preserve and protect for generations to come. By working together, we can ensure that our coasts remain a source of beauty, bounty, and inspiration for centuries to come. This video was created from an ebook on sale at www.pagebook24.com using a self-developed program by Pasquale DeMarco. Download the ebook now